I saw this tweet going around about how Fantano is allegedly misogynistic because he didn't like the Tate McCrae album, and that's ridiculous. Sometimes women just make boring music, and that's okay. Do you know how many men get away with making boring music and still being insanely successful? If anything, I'd say it's more misogynistic to prop up some 5 out of 10 middle-of-the-road album and pretend like it's special because she's a woman. So yes, with the preface of everyone is entitled to their own opinions, and I personally will never have the experience of being a woman, let's play Is Their Music Bad, or Do You Just Hate Women? We're gonna go through some modern pop adjacent girlies that get a ton of enemies online, and as an additional treat, I will recommend more women if you like so-and-so. Let's begin with Tate McRae, which is an easy one. She has absolutely skyrocketed to fame recently, and people may ask, how does this woman, who has 57 million monthly listeners, who is apparently more popular than Beyonce, who is that? What songs does she have? And that question sort of answers itself. She is perfect for this playlist Spotify streaming era. She makes nice background wallpaper music that I'm sure sounds good when you're shopping at Target. Dancing is something that I don't really know anything about, but she seems good at that. The music is just forgettable and plain. Instead, I'd suggest listening to some of Britney Spears' greatest hits. Every Time, Toxic, Gimme More. You're hitting different emotional niches and levels of energy in a much more impactful way, in my opinion. Because I mentioned her a second ago, what about Beyonce? And the short answer is yes, duh. If you've watched this woman, who is arguably the greatest performer of this generation, and you thought, this sucks, yeah, probably misogynistic and racist. The only thing that was holding me back with Beyonce from being like a super fan of hers was that she never really had that legendary album. 4 records in, you could pick incredible songs and super mega hits like Crazy in Love, Single Ladies, Irreplaceable, my personal favorite, Love on Top, but there was a disparity between how big of a superstar she was and how talented we knew she was, and like, where is that one iconic album, you know? But since then, banger, all-time iconic musical moments, and inventive next-level visionary stuff. I would never trust someone that goes against Beyonce. It's hard to compare her to someone, and I don't want to put that comparison on anyone up and coming, so how about someone from the same family that is kind of very different in a way? If you want to slow things down and get some introspective, lush neo-soul, Solange's A Seat at the Table is a masterpiece. Here's a big one with all the recent football stuff. Taylor Swift, and this is a rather loaded question. I will start by saying that I think it's undeniable that she is a talented songwriter, capable of both poppy earworms like You Belong With Me, Style, Love Story, and then modern pop lyrical masterpieces like her best song All Too Well. You can take the original or the 10-minute version, I don't care. And then a lot of folklore Evermore stuff like My Tears Ricochet, Champagne Problems, The Last Great American Dynasty, and so on. With that being said, does the quality of her music dictate her being the biggest person ever? Does she deserve a record-breaking 4 Album of the Year wins at the Grammys and a million other nominations and wins in other categories? Is she the biggest singer of this time? A top-tier vocalist by any means? This comparison might not sit well with either one of their fan bases, but Taylor Swift and Drake occupy a similar space in my mind. We all know that they can be fantastic, but I think most of the time it's just kind of filler. They are super, super talented, but most of the time they're going number 1 just because they are Taylor Swift or Drake. It's not based on the quality of like the most amazing music that you've ever heard. Ultimately, there are valid arguments against Taylor. I think that some of the bigger hits can be somewhat annoying. 1989 sounds like it was made by a robot with a name tag that says The Radio on it, and I do not think Reputation is good, no matter how many Swifties tell me that it's revolutionary. And generally speaking, I would expect more from the woman who is essentially the queen of modern music. With her level of power and influence, I would hope that she continues on the track of Folklore, Evermore, and so on, but Midnight's feels like she regressed in my mind. It's generic pop songs that are kind of hard to distinguish from other generic pop songs. This is not a direct comparison, but go listen to Jensen McCrae. She is the now, the present, the past, the future. She's everything. If you want the emotional devastation of An All Too Well, but with someone who is a remarkable vocalist, incredible range, and that lower register is the stuff that dreams are made of, look no further. Wolves for something to cut deep, Immune for something catchy, and this live performance of her doing her song Adam's Ribs for the most beautiful thing you'll see all day. And while we're at it, Madison Cunningham doesn't get enough credit for how talented she is either. If any Swifties are looking for good old-fashioned singer-songwriter stuff, check out her album Revealer. Madison's able to craft these art rock chambery songs that are both super likable and charming, while also being a little bit complex and intricate. There's always plenty to chew on without it ever being, like, challenging, you know? And again, I have a live video to recommend. Check out her doing In My Life by the Beatles with Mike Viola. They do some lovely harmonies. And again, it's always so refreshing to me when musicians do advanced musical things without being annoying about it. Like, it's a very tasteful flex. Megan Thee Stallion is 100% someone that has the it factor, but I don't think she's like at the upper echelon of where she could be at the moment. I think she's one of the more charismatic rappers in the mainstream, and when she's like attacking a song and riding a beat with this flow state of confidence, there are few people better than her rapping in the game right now. What she does is so infectious, but as a whole, her catalog is way too samey. It's just kind of repeats. Get a wider variety of beats in there, experiment with different producers that go far beyond the stereotypical southern trap sound, and cut down on the fat on these track lists because these albums are too big. With the right creative direction, she could be unstoppable. Thought Shit, Cash, the Savage remix with Beyonce, Hiss, Cobra. She's good, and even when it's not good, it's never really bad. Realistically, why do I see so much venom online for Megan Thee Stallion besides the fact that she's a woman? Is it because she makes a lot of sexual references in her songs? Because if that's the case, yeah, she's definitely the only one doing that. Or is it because she got shot and then she put the guy that shot her in jail? Oh no, why would she do that? That's crazy. Meg seems cool and she's super talented. I don't understand this one whatsoever. You can go back 30 to 40 years and people were mad about the same things, with Janet Jackson being a rebellious, passionate woman in music discussing intimacy. Go listen to Control, Janet, and The Velvet Rope, all classics. Similarly, we can talk about Cardi B, who has had an interesting roller coaster ride in the public eye. Let's get this straight first and foremost, Bodak Yellow absolutely rips. Really anthemic, the hook gets stuck in your head, and it's one of those songs that you can like feel pumping in your veins. I was at a Brockhampton show in like late summer, early fall of 2017, packed like sardines in the basement of a club, and before they came on during the DJ set, when he played this song, that is a moment that I will never forget. It's one of the hypest things that I've ever been a part of. Besides that, I am a fervent WAP defender. I think that song is fun. I like hot shit too. But opinion really changed hard about Cardi B when her album Invasion of Privacy beat the following records for Rap Album of the Year at the 2019 Grammys: Mac Miller's Swimming, Pusha T's Daytona, and Travis Scott's Astro World, which, it's not great. Invasion of Privacy is not an amazing album. I think it's okay at best. And yet, in front of you, I have shuffled in the critic scores for Invasion of Privacy alongside The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, Illmatic, The Blueprint, and Dr. Dre's 2001. Why can you not tell which one is Invasion of Privacy? Why did critics act like it should be in that top tier of rap albums ever? And then going back to the Grammys, they had her beat the album that Mac Miller died making, the like real hip-hop head choice in Daytona, and then like the everyman popular vote choice in Travis Scott's Astroworld that has a cult following attached to it too. It's like they set her up for huge backlash. Not that I think that Cardi deserves hate on the quality of her music, that's silly, but there is something wrong here. You go on Rolling Stone's list of the best rap albums ever, and it's like 18 Mad Villainy, 17 Yeezus, 16 Invasion of Privacy by Cardi B. What are we doing? And not that nuance and internet trolls are things that really go together, but if a publication tells you that an album that is probably just fine at the end of the day, if they tell you that it's the best thing ever, get mad at the publication. Invasion of Privacy beating Astroworld Swimming in Daytona doesn't make Invasion of Privacy horrible trash all of a sudden. It has some good songs on it. Anyway, I've said what I wanted to say. Recommendation for Cardi B, I don't know, listen to Flo Milli, she rocks. Okay, bye.